mercy, justice, grace, hospitality, humbleness, gentleness, empathy, kindness, compassion, and love. These are the vocabulary words from Sunday school this past year that Becky Stahl and I have had the profound honor to teach the young members of our congregation. I say honor because it really is an honor to help these wonderful young people on their journey to God. It's also a fun time that we both look forward to every week. I've taught Sunday school here at Holy Cross for over 20 years, and I learn something new every time I teach. But aside from our personal religious growth, Becky and I agree that these children touch our hearts. Their genuine interest, love of learning, and willingness to climb mountains to hear God's stories is heartwarming. After the kids leave the Zoom room, we sometimes just sit there, smiling, agreeing that we love our time with these kids. They've weathered Zoom school with my technological failings. They've sung our songs in their own spaces, unmuted, at the top of their lungs with huge smiles on their faces. This year, they've survived marches in the streets, election controversy, banner destructions, and riots, all while trying to be a team of peacemakers who do justice, love kindness, and walk humbly with God. During our Beatitudes segment, we learned that a blessing is a gift. So my gift to you today is that your hearts are open to our children of Holy Cross, so you may receive their wisdom just as I have. Amen.
I guess the key word for this past year has been improvisation. The youth group held meetings via Zoom or in person with masks. As is often the case between a teen and a full-fledged adult, who was teacher and who was student was not always crystal clear. Summing up, we adult teacher types, that's Laurel McGinley, Kevin, Andy Hoskins, and myself, we tried to impart the idea that the Bible is an invaluable friend and a companion for life. Get to know it, and like a good friend, it will be your friend even when the two of you are in conflict or disagreement or not at all on speaking terms. Psalm 78 adds that adults and parents share in the responsibility to tell, to retell, and study the Bible, and particularly its stories. What appeals to us as children stays with us into seniorhood. Timothy affirms the notion that the Bible is inspired. We teachers hope somehow your children will remain open to the Bible, to its many voices, messages, and its inspiration. It's there, it's real. Yes, we actually did read the Bible as well. Among many passages was the Decalogue. And I will not embarrass the students nor any parents by asking what exactly is the Decalogue and in which book of the Bible it is mentioned. I'll give you a hint. It was in Exodus. We also had quite a bit of fun. And unforgettable was a game of mini golf in which the adults, teachers, and parents, as well as the children, played at the end of the year. Quite forgettable was the shellacking that two of the three adults, Andy and myself, took from the one adult female who was there, who happened to be a hole-in-one specialist. That's Elizabeth Swinney, Julio's mom. And it was a year again of improvisation. We did those fill-in-the-blank Mad Lib stories. Here is the beginning of one. Now I'm going to ask all of you for words, and I want a really interesting, imaginative word. I need a type of being. Anybody want to say it?
Cicada.
Okay, that's great. And I need a name.
Floyd.
What? Floyd. And I need a profession or job. What? Postal worker, great. Okay, I'm exceeding my 3 limits, but I will just skip the rest of it. And so we did some of these stories, and the kids had fun with this. I think I had as much fun as they did. The leader of teachers was a cicada named Floyd, who had multiple jobs and worked as a postal worker during the week. Out of such improvisation and imperfection is fellowship. Thank you.
Good morning. Richard is a hard act to follow there. My name's Andy Hoskins. Most of you know me as a parishioner for the past decade or so. All of you know my wife, Megan. I am, among other things, one of the Sunday school teachers for the youth, along with Richard and Laurel McGinley. It's great to see so many of you here today. This is, I think, a record crowd for the last year, and hello to everyone watching online. When I was young, high school was an incredibly formative time for me spiritually. At the same time as I was finding some parts of religious education a tedious struggle, I was also awakening to this deep sense that there was something more, beyond what we understand through conventional knowledge. I was blessed with experiences in other parts of my religious education that provided touchstones that endure for me today. Gratitude, humility, never-ceasing forgiveness for our never-ceasing failures, the call to justice, and the call to service of our fellow humans. These touchstones provided me direction, solace, and meaning. They provide me those today. All of those come in handy in a pandemic. All creatures great and small, right? Kevin asked us to say a few words on why we minister to the youth. My hope is that I can pass along a sense of those touchstones that have been meaningful to me. And there you have it. It's as simple as that. The last year has been indeed difficult on so many levels, not the least of which was the unexpected and sudden loss of 3 people close to me. Ironically, none because of COVID. But there have been good times as well, and not always the big things. Getting to know a couple of the youth group kids a little better in a smaller setting, simply playing the round of mini golf that Richard, despite the shellacking that Richard referred to a couple weekends ago with Kevin's kids and some of the youth, was a joy. But for me, the best gift of the pandemic was the unexpected time I had with Megan and my 3 girls aged 24, 21, and 17. When my oldest graduated 7 years ago from high school, I never expected to have all 5 of us together again for so long. I read yesterday in Fairfax County that we averaged only 8 new cases of COVID a day last week and falling. A huge thank you to everyone that got vaccinated. We're very nearly through this difficult time. My hope for the future is to get back together soon, fully in person, but also to be truly alive to those moments we can now spend with someone else and to savor them for the small miracles that they are. Thanks.
Sorry, I'm a little broken. So a few days ago, or a few weeks ago actually, I got an email from Kevin, and he was like, reflect. So here I go. Quarantine was kind of hard for me. It was just me and my mom. So it was a lot of reflection. And I got to figure out who I truly was. And throughout this whole period, I came to realize one of my favorite memories at Holy Cross, that wasn't really a memory but more of an experience, was when I met Jamie at Art and Soul. And it really it opened my eyes to how accepting our church was, because so many of my friends were like going to more conservative churches, and I always felt a little out of place. That being said, growing up with religious queer representation really showed me that there are no limits to the intricacies of love, and that really shaped me as a spiritual member of the LGBTQ community. So I just think that was really big for me this past year. And Kevin also asked what I hope we do as we move out of the pandemic. And I think that as we move out of the pandemic, I hope that we can continue more youth experiences, because I know that there weren't more of the show shopping and the Lamb Center volunteering this year. And I just remember so many fun times. Oh, hello. And I just think that everyone should be able to experience that, and because I thought it was always super fun. So I think that is important for this coming time.